Hello, I'm taking you on a little journey. I am driving on Beacon Hill Road, which connects two of the major roads on Block Island, and this road is heading west. And I would never do this on the mainland, video and drive at the same time, but as you can see, there's nobody on this road. And we're about to pass a beautiful farm. This is Beacon Hill Farm, and I'm gonna pan over so you can take a peek. Look at this gorgeous white fence and beautiful red barn, and they have donkeys and horses. And so anyway, the reason I'm on this road is I'm traveling west to my friend Karen's house because I got a surprise invitation to join her for a little cocktail party because her two friends, Rosemary Drysdale, who I've featured several times in my podcast. She was the knitting editor for Vogue magazine, and Trisha Malcom, who was vice president and editorial director for Vogue Knitting for many years, and is now the vice president and sales director for Rowan in New England, and that covers Canada as well, are on the island and staying with Karen. And so I'm on my way to spend time with these incredibly talented women who I have admired my whole knitting career. As you know, I've been subscribing and knitting from the Vogue Knitting magazine since I was a teenager. And I am so looking forward to this. And I also thought you would enjoy this drive because this drive, and it's also a great walk. There are several greenway trails that actually intersect this road as well. But it just gives you a feel for how undeveloped the island actually is. We are almost 50% conservancy land on the island, and this just gives you a feel for that. So anyway, wish me luck, and I will tell you all about it in my next podcast. Bye. Welcome to the Island Lamb. I'm Diane, and this is episode 38. And this episode, we're going to talk about knitting, of course, but we're also going to talk about the startup feeling on the island. This is Memorial Day weekend in the United States, and it's a 3-day weekend, and so some folks will come out and open up their summer homes, those people who are fortunate to have a summer home out here. And then the day trippers, people will come out during the day or maybe do an overnighter, stay at one of our beautiful Victorian inns or some of our bed and breakfasts. And so it's a big weekend. What usually happens though after Memorial Day weekend is it gets quiet again during the week, and the weekends stay busy, and then 4th of July, we're full blown. So I hope you enjoyed my opening video. That was such a fun day and a really totally unplanned day. I do believe that when we go with the flow, when we let the universe direct us, amazing things can happen. And that's how the day went. So my husband and I were convinced we were definitely going to do a good walk. And at the end of this video, I'm going to do a little video montage of some of our walks and some of the things we saw that were all part of the experience of opening weekend. But so the day started with, we're going to go for a nice walk. We're going to walk down Champlain Road, and we're going to walk down by the Coast Guard house. And, then we're going to go to the grocery store, the post office, and come home and do some planting or gardening. And that's not how the day went. So we did go for our walk. And while we were on our walk, when we got all the way down Champlain Road, we saw this beautiful 3-masted sailing vessel over at one of the marinas. And so we decided we'd finish our walk and then drive over to the marina and walk down the dock. And we saw the beautiful sailboat. And again, at the end of this video, you're going to see all these things that I'm talking about. And then we decided to walk over to one of the other marinas, and by then we were starving. And so instead of going to the grocery store and coming home and making lunch, we decided to go out for lunch. And that was wonderful. There's a terrific sandwich called the Swordfish Reuben that one of our favorite restaurants called Dead-Eye Dick's serves, and they're only open in the summer. And we are known for our swordfish on Block Island. Later in the video, you're going to hear me talk about, the fish population around Block Island. We have such a great community for fishermen. And I forgot to mention one of the most important fishes, which is Block Island swordfish. They catch it right off the sound. And so we are so fortunate that when we go out to one of our restaurants, we're not getting frozen fish that's been, reheated and served. We're getting fresh fish that was probably just caught that morning. So we had a wonderful Block Island Swordfish Reuben. And then we said, okay, let's go to the post office, let's go to the grocery store and head home. And just as we were about to go into the post office, I don't know why, but I checked my phone and I noticed I had 2 instant messages. And I very seldom check instant messages. I really need to check it more often. And so I had 2 messages. And I was, as you know, from the opening video, invited to have cocktails with Rosemary, Drysdale, and Trisha Malcom. And it was just lovely. It was just the 4 of us. It was Karen, myself, and then Trisha and Rosemary. We sat outside and we just chit-chatted, and I got to hear about Trisha's move from Vogue to Rowan. And, you know, if you know Rowan, like I know Rowan, Rowan yarn is just incredible. And they have this gorgeous magazine that comes out twice a year. And I say magazine in the loosest terms because these are beautiful booklets that have incredible photography. And I'll just show you some of the covers. They're just exquisite and just a treat to look through. And you know, I've referred to Martin's story in the past, and so some of the designers that design and are often published in Rowan Knitting and Crochet magazine are Lisa Richardson, Martin Story, Erica Knight, Arnie and Carlos. I mean, you know, you've heard of Kat Fassett, you've heard of a lot of these designers. Well, you really get to see their work in this magazine, and done so beautifully. I mean, even the back page is gorgeous. So now Trisha has left Vogue, and of course, you know, Vogue magazine is out of print now, which is a bit heartbreaking, but Rowan still has the magazine, and Trisha is Vice President of Sales in the New England area and parts of Canada. So we're going to continue to see wonderful things through Vogue, and then also with Trisha at the helm of sales. And then, of course, Rosemary Drysdale, prolific designer, known for her embroidery, her design work, her knitting work, still very active in the community. And we didn't just talk about knitting. It was just nice to, you know, talk life in general. So I'm very grateful, and I just wanted to share that experience with you because it was a joy. And it was, again, the day just did not go at all the way we planned, and everything that did happen was just incredible. And we were open to it. So, okay, so what am I wearing? Well, you know this. I've had it on the mannequin. I've talked about it in 2 of my episodes, so I'm not going to go into any great detail. If you go to my episode 27 and 28, you'll hear about the yarn. This was yarn that was gifted to me by a follower who's become a fast friend, Barbara. And I used some Cascade, not Cascade, Valley yarn for the white. And so again, all the details, this is a Cailtan Hunter design. And one thing I did want to say about this, and I think I said it in one of my episodes, is that you could easily probably turn this into a long sleeve. And Cailtan, she was right on it. So there is a long sleeve version. It is, I don't think it's called, I'll have to put it in the show notes. This is the Alpine Bloom. It's a similar name, but it's a long sleeve version, and I am looking forward to making that this fall. Okay, so let's see what else is going on. This video may be a little longer than my normal video because I went from just having, you know, my basic story line, you know, what am I wearing, what's on the mannequin, to just a lot of other things that have been going on. So I want to share those things with you. But on the mannequin is a work in progress. And I've decided to try something different with my mannequin. I took the body off of the stand because it's usually high and I feel like it's a little awkward. So I'm going to try something different. Here it is. It's a little closer to us. And this is the Tour Rose. And this pattern is by Emile Luis. And it's a very feminine, delicate design, but I'm using my linen quill. So I'm going to get this a little closer to you. It's got a boat neck, which was a fun way to put it. It's top down. It was a fun way to work the boat neck. And this sweet little yarn over and then knit 2 together SSK little eyelet that creates this pattern. And the pattern is only appearing it's almost like the stocking stitch, the pattern, stocking stitch, and then under the arm you've got a pretty good area of stocking knit. I usually am making things that are supposed to be cropped shorter, and this was going to be a little longer, and I decided to make it shorter because I only had 2 skeins of the linen quill, and I really wanted to use the linen quill. So I decided with my high-waisted white jeans, I can go a little shorter. So I am doing a little bit of a rib here. I think I'm going to do about maybe a 2-inch rib. I decided to do a cap sleeve. The pattern is written for long sleeve or short sleeve, but again, because I'm really trying to maximize how much yarn I have, and I'll show you, this is all I have left to accomplish the other sleeve and to do the bind off. So I'm already on the rib. I did 1.5 inches of stocking knit once I picked up the stitches for the sleeve, and I'm going to do, I think, 1 inch or so of rib, and then I'll come over and pick up the other side and then give this a good block. And I'm really looking forward to wearing this spring. So just to remind you about linen quill. So linen quill is a Purl SoHo yarn, and it is 50% Highland wool. It's 35% alpaca, 15% linen. It's a fingering weight. There's 439 yards. This is not that because I'm already on the last of it, but 100 grams. Calls for a US 2 to 5. The gauge, and that is, by the way, a 3 to a 3.75 millimeter needle. The gauge is between 26 and 30 stitches to 4 inches. Very versatile. And I am planning on using this black to make the V-neck, I think it's called the daily pullover maybe, or the V-neck that Leslie, of a friend to knit with, has made several of. And so I'm hoping, I have 3 skeins of this, which should be enough for that. I have a lot of leftover quill from all those half and half triangles. And there's a couple of summer tees I'm looking at, and I haven't made a decision, but I have some raspberry and I have this pretty orange, and I thought maybe something striped, maybe either short sleeve or sleeveless. So I'll get this off the needles probably today, and then I'll start thinking about another linen quill project. I think I'll probably put this black one off until the fall or late summer. I also have some off-white oatmeal linen quill. So this has been fun. It's been fun to work on something so bright. I don't remember what the color of this is, and if I do find it, I will add that to the show notes. But it's really a fun pattern. And so you start with one side of the boat neck, and you work that down, and then eventually you're going to work the other side of the boat neck, and you're going to work that down, and then you're going to work the rest of the pattern in the round. And again, that's like something I just really love. There's a lot of simplicity here. I love working top down. I like working in the round, and I love this little pattern, this sweet little pattern that's just, I think, going to make for a flattering fit, because again, it's running vertically, and I do like things that kind of run vertically and give you a nice flattering fit. So that's what I've been working on. All right, so I'm also going to just right now include 2 little clips of myself knitting on this, because also this weekend, this long weekend, my husband and I managed to get to the beach. It wasn't really throw your bathing suit on, run in the water, at least not for us. There were people in the water, and I was, enjoying watching them, but I'm not ready to jump into the Atlantic Ocean yet. But I brought my knitting, and I brought a book, and my husband filmed me knitting, and I decided to show you 2 different ways. I was working on the ribs, so when I knit with my right hand, when I'm doing a knit one, purl one, I have a lot more going on with my fingers, and I never really noticed that until I saw myself knitting. And when I work continental, it's much more movement. I guess I knew that in general, but I was surprised to see my hands moving so much when I was knitting English style. And part of the reason may be I'm working on very short tips, because the rib is on a 2.5, a US 2.5. The only 2.5s I have are my shorties. So not only was I working on a short, only a 3-inch tip, but I also had a little connector on, because the shorties come with really short cords. So that may have been another reason. So I definitely, it was interesting to watch myself knit. All right, so the biggest finished object project that I have to show you is the Artus Shawl. That's the Natasja Hornby, that beautiful Artus Shawl. I'm also, while I'm talking right now, going to just show you a little video of when I was blocking it. So I decided to make the Artus Shawl with the Cascade 220 sport weight. And when I was talking about this last episode, I may or may not include that video. I'm not exactly sure yet, so I'm just going to keep showing it to you while I talk. So here it is. It's absolutely stunning. I decided to use the Cascade 220 Sport yarn, and you can just see the drape. Now this has been blocked. The drape is beautiful. I used a combination of this black, which, whenever you're working on black, you just have to pay attention, but there wasn't so much of it that I couldn't deal with. This soft, like kind of a spruce green, gray, blue, and that off-white, that beautiful aqua. And I was going to use a powder blue. And when I started knitting with it, I knew right away that wasn't going to be a good choice. So I went with this green called Shale Green. And it has a 7-stitch I-cord bind off. Every aspect of knitting this shawl was a joy. Just a joy. And you can see how it's going to be a very wearable piece. One of my winter coats is black. Wearing this with off-white or white, black, over your coat, under your coat, bunched up more like a scarf. It's just from every angle. I've got a pretty pin. I could wear it with a pretty pin on it. I highly recommend this pattern. You have to have some knitting skills. Certainly, you have to be able to follow a chart. This is all a chart, and you have to take a little time. So some things I discovered while knitting this. I shared, what I discovered up top. You have some needle changes going on. You want to make sure you carry your yarn up the side. But when you get to the mosaic, I would say really take some time reading the charts carefully and then reading the directions that are on the following page, because the page before the chart tells you to do the chart, but the page after the chart gives you a little bit more information. The chart is going to start off by telling you what color you're going to be working on that row. Because for any of you who have knit with mosaic knitting, and those of you who haven't, the joy and the fun of mosaic knitting is you're getting color work without using 2 or 3 yarns at the same time. Only going to carry 1 yarn across the row. And you're going to use that color twice. You're going to knit across and you're going to purl back. When you knit across with the color that you're knitting with, that's the color that's going to be in your hand, and that's the color the chart is going to tell you to have in your hand. As you're knitting, let's say we were knitting on the aqua, when we get to, let's say, the black, if we're on an aqua row, we're slipping the black stitches. And if we're on the knit side, we're slipping them with the working yarn in the back. If we're purling, am I saying that right? If we're knitting, we're slipping with the black in the back. And if we're purling, we're slipping with the back and the front. So 2 rows. If you think of it as, it takes 2 rows to complete 1 color. So then the next row, in this case, we'd be working with the black. And every time we come to the aqua, if we're on a knit row, we'd be slipping it with the yarn in the back. If we're purling, we're slipping it with the yarn in the front. So, and that is so much fun. But you want to really pay attention. What color should I be holding in my hand? I used colored pencils and I drew my own little sketch as I was trying to figure out what colors I wanted to use. And then I just kept referring to that. And I also wrote in my knit companion what colors coordinated with which numbers on the chart. Let's see, what else can I tell you? You want to just be aware of your tension. So yes, it's going to be pretty forgiving and blocking. I will say that. I think when I first started working the mosaic, I might have been working a little tighter. I was using my right hand because I had been purling, and I don't love purling continental, even though I'm getting better at it. So I was using my right hand. And then it didn't take me long to realize I did want it to work continental with the knit stitches, and I worked continental with the purl stitches. But you can't even tell, because once you block it, mosaic knitting is fun. And I am so grateful for Natasja Hornby. So this is the pattern. Again, I really did use my my knit companion, but I'll just read you a little bit. So it's Artus, A-R-T-U-S, by Natasja Hornby. And she says, to define is to limit. And she says, every year I embark on a journey trying to expand upon one of my favorite techniques, mosaic knitting by creating what I refer to as a grand mosaic shawl. Artus, with its striking blend of colors and patterning, perfectly fits my grand design criteria. It's a rich tapestry of texture and color. The border is easy, allowing for creative color combinations that consistently produce fantastic results. This is not a sheer, and she even says that this is not a sheer, delicate layering piece. This is a substantial wrap that's going to keep you warm and cozy, and it's going to be eye-catching. And so have fun with this one. So speaking of mosaic knitting, I also wanted to bring up another pattern that I think I talked about this in the beginning. I hadn't blocked it yet. This is the Pressed Flowers Shawl. This was my first foray into mosaic knitting. And it is designed by Amy Christophers. Another beauty, just another beautiful shawl. And what made me think of this again, not only because I was working on mosaic, was I got a phone call from the Block Island Medical Center. And if you recall, last year, I got a call from them and they asked me to donate a piece, and I donated the Twist and Turns Stephen West MCAL shawl that I had knit. And it did well, and it helped raise money for the medical center. And I was asked again if I would like to donate another piece. And what I did realize is that I really didn't wear this that much. They're not my best colors. And yes, it looked great over a jean jacket, but this is like a steely gray and a gold. And I've learned over the years that, yeah, you know, it's fun to knit with whatever, but are you going to wear it? Is it going to fit into your wardrobe? And this really is not. So I've never worn it. I hadn't even blocked it. So I put it on the blocking mat. Again, the drape is gorgeous. This is a DK yarn. I don't really remember exactly, but it's 100% wool. I got this yarn at the Mermaid's Purl, my local yarn shop, and I am going to donate this. So I'll let you know when it's going to hit the, it's going to be an online silent auction. That's what they did last year. I have to photograph it, and then I have to write up a description for it and then hand it over. And I'll let you know when that auction is going to happen in case anybody is interested to see what else maybe is going to be auctioned. And then if you're interested in seeing how this does. Okay, so mosaic knitting, fun, and I think it's especially fun if you really want to get into multiple colors, but you don't want to carry multiple colors at the same time. All right, let's see, what else do I want to tell you? There's so many things I had going through my mind. What am I thinking about? Well, since I've worked with that Knitting for Olive pattern, the fur and pullover that I had on last episode, and I had a chance to try their mohair, I've been thinking about their silk yarn. I don't know a lot about it yet. I can't wait to get off island and go over to my local yarn shop. She's carrying a lot of great yarns, including Knitting for Olive. I want to take a look at that silk yarn. Maybe something delicate in a silk yarn. I think that I really don't have a plan yet. I've been going through my old Vogues, especially now that I saw the gals that used to work at Vogue, and I've been going through my Vogues. I've been going online. I like having some summer pieces, but I don't need too many summer pieces because these would be too heavy to take to the Virgin Islands where I usually go in the winter. And our season here is really, you know, it's not that long. And we go from, yes, it's nice to have, you know, something like this on, to I just want something, a t-shirt on. And then before you know it, we're back into our wool. So I might just start working on some fall projects. I have had some ideas, maybe another Icelandic sweater. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I really don't know what I'm going to do yet. I just switched over my summer winter clothes, put my winter clothes away. I am still washing some of my sweaters that I wore last winter. I've been blocking, and I think I'm going to make another one of these little, I talked about this in a previous episode. This was a Cocoa Knits little pillow, well, like a little shawl. I've got some mohair. I may work on another one of those. Those are kind of fun to throw over a tee or something strappy. Maybe one of those. But right now I'm thinking about gardening and working in the yard, going to the beach, hiking, and looking for inspiration for some of my next knitting projects. I also wanted to share a quote with you. So I love this quote. So Brother David Stein Ross is a 97-year-old author, scholar, and Benedictine monk. And I love this quote. He said, "In daily life, we must see that it is not happiness that makes us grateful. It is gratefulness that makes us happy." And you know, we lost my uncle this winter, and there's been a few other things that have gone on with our family that have really hit that button, like gratefulness, gratitude, grateful for my family, and grateful to look into the eyes of a loved one and see life and vibrancy, and know that we can be together, and also know that, you know, my uncle left us a beautiful legacy with his fun jokes that he liked to tell, and, you know, wonderful stories and all the memories we have. And so yes, I'm really feeling that you know, we can't always be happy, but we can be grateful. And when we are grateful, we do have a feeling, a sense of happiness. So I thought I would leave you with those words, and then also remind you, if you want to stay, I think it's going to be a couple of minutes, because I've strung several little videos together: a walk on the beach, a walk down Coast Guard Road, a look at what's down at the end of Coast Guard Road. And so I will leave you with that, and I'll wish you a wonderful June. Today is the 27th of May, so we're only a few days away from June, and I'll try to get back to you a little sooner. I know it's been about a month since I've been on, but I'll try to get back to you a little sooner. Thanks for watching. Bye.